Welcome to Blaise the Trail podcast, bringing you authentic and vulnerable stories that will inspire you to breathe fire on this world and become your own hero. Here's your host, Blaise Hunter.
Hello, welcome to Blaise the Trail podcast. I'm Blaise Hunter, and I am a fertility expert. No, I don't help people get pregnant. This is a different type of expertise. I actually inspire people to birth confidence and self-worth, to birth their books and business ideas, dreams, passions, and goals, as well as help them discover peace amongst infertility. After going through my own sets of traumas and tragedies, dealing with a rare disease and experiencing 3 miscarriages, I decided to take charge of my life and not let life happen to me, but rather become the hero of my own life. I am not barren. I continually birth my purpose every day. So that's why I've created this show, to demonstrate how even though we all experience setbacks and disappointments, we still have a destiny to birth. We just need to blaze the trail and be expecting. This podcast will inspire you to lean into your hardships and allow them to be the vehicle that transports you into becoming the hero of your life so you can breathe fire on this world. This week's episode is called The COVID War. I am a published author, international speaker, fertility expert, founder of the Heroine Movement, winner of the Influencer Award at the 2020 Canadian Women of Inspiration Awards. I'm also the CEO of Blaise the Trail Inc. consulting agency. I'm a mother of purpose and breaker of chains. And my practice is based on the quote from Fred Devito: "What doesn't challenge you doesn't change you." I want to challenge myself and the world to take off the masks and get vulnerable so we can address root issues and grow. That's how we can transform into the best versions of ourselves. So this is my 45th episode. Wow, almost a full year of weekly stories that inspire. And as I'm reflecting back on 2020 and looking to the new year, I've realized something. When's the last time the whole world battled a common enemy? It was World War II. Now here we are, 75 years later, and the world is in its own version of a World War III, COVID-19. This is my 45th episode, but it's the first one of 2021. And I'm shaking things up a bit here. I wanted to share my own war story with you. I've had some incredible highs this year, but I've also fought like hell to survive. So this is the behind the scenes look at my role of the COVID war. I'm going to share my wins and my defeats, my battle scars, how people see my success on social media, but they don't see the ashes of what it cost me. How freaking affirmations don't do shit, sorry, of my French, when in combat. And I'm going to speak about some parallels of the World War II and our COVID war as we're going through it. And so I'm going to get started. I was living the life last year and part of 2020. I was living in England. It's been an amazing, incredible experience to take 6 months of my life and head to the UK and explore the world with our daughter and my husband. And it was a moment in time where we said, you know what, let's just do it. We pushed pause on our life and decided to, take advantage of seeing the world and exploring different cultures and giving our daughter an amazing experience. And everything lined up for us. So we took the shot and did it. We arrived in the fall of 2019. In September, we enrolled our daughter into a little private British school, and it was just amazing. The people we met, everybody was welcoming of the new foreigners coming in, and we were just having a fantastic time as a family and exploring new things. And a month later, my husband gets a wonderful job opportunity back in Canada. And we had discussed if this happened, that most likely he would take the job and go back to Canada. And originally we were supposed to be in England for just 3 months. So we would meet up with him in December and start our life back up in Canada. So what most people don't realize is my husband was only there for a month and he left. And it was mutual. It was all great. We just wanted to give our daughter this experience, and we registered into a school and paid a lot of money for it. So I stayed in England with our daughter, and my husband went back to Canada and experienced this new job. So that was hard enough by itself. Like, we're completely a family unit, and my husband was gone. I had to be a single parent and alone in a new country and explore other countries by myself. Now, most people don't realize that I'm actually a timid traveler. We joke, my husband and I, like, this is hilarious. He's the world traveler. He grew up in Hong Kong and Singapore and abroad, and he's the guy you go to for all the advice, and I follow him wherever we went on trips. I didn't make any plans, and I was just a little follower, and this time he's not there. This time it's all up to me, and I'm navigating it with a 6-year-old at the time. And you know what? I said, you know what? I'm not going to be in England and not go anywhere because I'm too scared to take that train ride to a different country, to take that flight, to book hotels in foreign countries and take my little 6-year-old. So I got brave, and I made many blunders and mistakes. I have an episode about my foreigner faux pas early on in this podcast, in the season. But yeah, I did it. I conquered. Yes, I made mistakes, but that's part of traveling and being a tourist. You have the wins and the losses, and it's funny. And we explored the world. I took my daughter all over Europe. I took her to Ireland. I took her to France. I took her to Scotland, to Italy, and all over the UK. A 6-year-old saw Stonehenge. I gave her a whole new world to appreciate, and she will have that forever. It was amazing. I posted pictures weekly on social media. People thought I was living the life, and I was. I was on a permanent vacation. I've spoken openly about my health issues, being very ill for the last 15 years, and for some reason, I stepped off that plane into a new country, and my health improved. I eliminated stress. I was on a 6-month vacation. It was amazing. And so I was trying to get off this really hardcore drug, prednisone. I've been on it for a really, really long time. It's deteriorating my bones. And so I got for another drug, but I needed to taper off prednisone. And I was doing it there. I was getting lower and lower, defeating all odds. My adrenal glands were producing cortisol. The doctors never thought that would happen since I've been on it for 15 years, and maybe the glands had atrophied. So this was just like plus, 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 win, win, win. I was doing so well and really relishing in my life and having this moment to heal and be happy. Even if my husband was back in Canada, it was amazing. And I had such a friendship circle there that they became my family and my support system. I was doing so well. And then because we were doing so well, my daughter was flourishing even in her school. My daughter was winning awards in her little school. She won a poetry contest. She was winning Stars of the Week and Spirit Award of the private school. It was just amazing. And I said to my husband, you know, we did pay for a whole 6-month term because you can't pay 3 months at a time. And she was doing so well. And I had such a great base and connection there. I wasn't ready to say goodbye come December because I was coming home for Christmas no matter what. And so we discussed this, and he's like, what's another 3 more months? We have the school paid up till March. You know, we have a flat that's available for us to live in. You know, why don't we return? And we'll meet up with you back in Canada in March. And we agreed. It was a mutual decision. This was a gift he could give his daughter and his wife. He was working. You know, he started a new job. He was full focused on his new career. And you know what? In life, you can always go back to life. But take this opportunity, harness it. And so that's what we did as a collective couple. We agreed that after Christmas, my daughter and I would return back to England yet again alone without my husband and finish what we started and really relish in that 6-month bubble, so to speak, of experiences and culture. And it was so amazing to make that decision. And we felt at peace about it. And I was so thankful my husband was willing to do that. I know he was a little bit jealous. He's seeing his wife's pictures and his daughter's pictures of Paris and all of these areas that we were going to around the world. And he couldn't be there with us and share in that experience. And so he was just such an amazing gift for me to to give that to me and our daughter. So thankful for that. And I was riding a high. And then we made that decision like in the late fall. So we knew that that was going to happen. We agreed that I would return back in January, but this was late fall. This was like November. And it all came to a screeching halt after that decision because I mentioned it to some family that this was what our plan was, that I would return back without Rob. And oh my God, that created a firestorm of opinions from my family for some reason, that why would I dare return back without my husband? And that's not what a wife does. And what are you doing? And I was so fine with that decision. Like it was mutual. It wasn't like I did this without my husband's consent. It was like totally, yeah, let's do it. It's, in another 3 months of our life, right? Whatever. It's no big deal. What's the difference if a guy goes out on camp or away for 2 weeks and flies back and away 2 weeks and comes back? Like, what's the difference if I just do this for 3 more months and have such an amazing experience? But it did. It caused a firestorm of opinions of one relative basically full out saying to me, if you return back to England without your husband, you will get a divorce. And for some reason, even though I know that's not true and I was fine with my decision, that judgment and that basically curse of words really deeply affected me. So on the outside, everyone's seeing these amazing posts and these pictures of me being across the world and exploring the world with my daughter. I was facing a really horrible time in my life of the judgment of my family, that they couldn't support that decision and be happy for me. And like, hello, 1950. No, my job isn't to be home and cook for my husband every night. Our job is being in love, a partnership, and living life to the fullest. That's my job. And so it did something to my health. I was so amazing and feeling great and basically got off prednisone up until November. And all of a sudden, that internal heart wound from that family member just ruined all the progress I made with my physical health. It was, I just felt unbalanced. It shook me and it hurt. That was a heart wound. It hurt deeply that someone couldn't just be happy for me. So that was the start of me having a lot of battles. It was November of 2019. We went home for Christmas. I returned back with our daughter in January, and my health was still deteriorating, and it was a fight. Even though I'm back in paradise again in Europe and traveling all around, I'm in a war of itself. And COVID hadn't even hit yet. And I just realized that was kind of the prelude to the big war we're about to face in 2020, right? And so it's January, and I have some trips planned for February before we head back to March. So I took my daughter to Ireland and I took her to Italy. We had a trip planned for Rome. And it was always my dream to be in Rome. So I'm doing this. It's my last hurrah. I'm literally leaving back to Canada a week after we get back from Rome. We knew that there was COVID happening in China, and we knew it started a little bit up in Milan, but it was in the north. It wasn't in Rome whatsoever. So I made the decision to still go. Everything was fine. So we flew. My 6-year-old and I flew to Rome. And we were there and had the time of our lives. I got to show my daughter, the Colosseum. She got to see the Sistine Chapel and the paintings of Michelangelo and the sights of beautiful Italy, and just experience so many things and history. And it was epic. And we leave, and I believe we left like February 26th off the plane. And I remember looking on Google while I'm waiting in the airport, and it's like positive cases in Rome. And literally we're taking off as COVID is exploding in Rome. You know how blessed I am that I got out just barely? Everywhere I was just ahead of the COVID breakout. And I got back home in England, and then basically it was pack up time and go back to Canada. And literally the week that I arrived back in Canada, March 5th, 2020, a week later, the world shut down. There was even a positive case on our plane from London, but it was 20 rows away. My kid, though, did have some symptoms. Usually germs on planes anyways gives my kid strep throat, but she distributed these symptoms of COVID. So she needed to be tested right when we got back. And that left me and her being quarantined. So this was now COVID war happening right to us immediately, smack down when we get back to Canada. But people aren't seeing all of that, right? People see that I had a massive book signing at Chapters Indigo in West Edmonton Mall on International Women's Day. That's why I flew back when I did. And people don't even know I was actually going to leave my daughter there for 2 more weeks because she had 2 more weeks left in her term at school. And I just had a work commitment. So I actually was planning to fly back to Canada, quickly do my book signing and fly back for 2 more weeks and then get her and come back. But I just didn't feel peaceful about it. So I went and just left early. Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness I did. I don't even know if I would get back to get my daughter because of everything being blown up with COVID-19. It was a war happening to me, to the world. And I'm sharing this story not to have sympathy, not to say, woe is me, I have a lot of problems. It's to say we don't always see the backstory. We don't always see the ashes that people are standing upon and having successes in the wins. You don't see what it costs them. So I'm sharing what it cost me, what some of the battles I've endured, the war stories. It's something to learn so we can gather some grit and will to conquer our own challenges in our lives. So this was the start of my war with COVID. You know, we literally got back and the world shut down a week later. My daughter only got 3 days in her new school. We moved to a new city. We knew nobody. My daughter couldn't get any friends because everything shut down and went to online. I had no connections, no moms, no friends. It was just, my husband, myself, and our daughter. Luckily, though, we had an amazing family that had been housing my husband for the first 3 months while we went back to England. So we did have a built-in family, and they were our saving grace. They saved us in this COVID war where everything was shut down and you had nothing and no connections and no friendships and nothing. It was hard. It was hard to survive that isolation. And that billet family, they were the light that saved us. And so another hit was this homeschooling. And I know there are mamas out there and daddies out there that are like, oh yeah, talk about massive war happening, right? Disruption of homeschooling. There may be some of you out there who are like, homeschooling was no problem. It was easy. We were done by noon every day. I'm talking to the people that are feeling me here. My whole family are teachers. I rebelled against that because I'm not a teacher. I don't have the patience for it. And battling an illness and also trying to homeschool a grade 1 girl was the epic war battle between the school system and just everything was chaotic. They didn't know what they were doing. It was all brand new. The schools have never been shut down like this, right? I didn't know what I was doing. My poor little daughter. It's all a mess and it's all new and we're all experiencing this war, but are in our own unique situations, right? Well, yeah, it was a hit. And I couldn't believe the amount of energy that I needed to put towards that. And what people aren't understanding, when I talk about my illness, I've never really gone into the full disclosure of it, I guess. I've never wanted to be labeled as the sick girl because I'm trying to overcome that. I'm trying to walk out my healing. And I gloss over it a little bit and people don't really realize. And this is what this episode is about, is showing you the other side, showing you that there are many sides to someone's story. And it's not just about what they post on social media. And there's real battles going on in each one of our lives. So let's try and have empathy. And let's try to understand, because once you can understand a little bit more, then you can empathize and then you can connect and then you can encourage and be in the army together, pushing forward, advancing together, because you can't do it by yourself. And so every single morning, you guys, I wake up and I usually have some kind of massive asthma attack where my sinuses just drain and I'm sneezing and I have shortness of breath and scrambling for my inhaler to breathe and consciously tell myself, you have to keep breathing. You have to get through this. And this happens every morning. And when that happens, it's like the equivalent of running a marathon. That's the energy it takes to fight, to breathe. So that's happening right at 7:30 in the morning when I'm up. And it takes about an hour or two to get fully stable and breathing again and just able to function. So it took 2 hours and all of my energy to stay alive. And that happens every day, every single day for the last 15 years. Then I got to go homeschool my kid. And I got to pull myself together and I've got to find energy somewhere to teach my kid how to read and write and do math and be a good citizen and a good girl, all while battling this and being a mom and cooking and cleaning and being a wife. And I own my own business. So yeah, it was hell. It was a war. And I know many of you out there are like, yeah, I hear ya. It was war come March 16th when schools shut down, when the world shut down, when I couldn't even get out for an hour, when I'm stuck in the house all day, every day, and I cannot get my breath. Yeah, that's freaking war. And we need to talk about this, not to complain, but to share in our challenges and come together as a collective and say, I got you. I'm feeling okay today. Let's go. I got your arm. Let's go. Move forward. Keep pushing. I've been watching Band of Brothers over and over. I love that series produced by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. And my husband and I are big World War II, documentary buffs. I love everything to learn about that war. And so Band of Brothers is one of my favorites, highlighting the easy company of the paratroopers and just their role in World War II on D-Day and leading up to liberation. And I really think there's a lot of parallels with World War II and this COVID war and how necessary being in a platoon, in a unit, and togetherness. You cannot win a war by yourself. You need allies. You need people in your foxhole that when you're crying, you're like, I can't do this. And you've got PTSD and you're wounded and you're shot and all of these things are happening in rapid fire. Someone's in there to say, let's go. Grab your gun and shoot fire. Come on. You've got this. And I'm just saying that was my war in this home, being isolated and shut down and being sick and having to homeschool and run my business. And talk about business, right? Like, wow, all of our businesses were affected. It was insane. I landed back in a new city from, I took 6 months off and did work over the UK, but it wasn't concentrated for Canada. I was planning to hit the ground running the moment I landed back in Canada. I hit this amazing experience and opportunity of doing a book signing at Indigo. I was going to do tons of book signings with Indigo as a partnership across Canada. It got shut down. Every bookstore was closed. All my conferences that I speak at on stages were canceled. Nothing that I had planned for 2020 was going to happen. And that's my business. That's how I earn money. That's how I network. How do you network when you can't be face to face with anyone? It was a huge blow. And like everybody, we were basically sent home, put on CERB, and tried to function. So thank goodness for certain government funding programs that I was able to, contribute to the bills. But my business was hanging on by a thread. How do I do this? I had to pivot that. And yeah, you see these posts of what I put in good marketing and good branding, but holy cow, I thought it was over. And that brought on another fear of I just started this business and now just like all the 3 babies that I miscarried, am I going to miscarry my business? And that brought on a lot of fear. and triggered emotions and trauma responses, because here I am literally aborting my business. There's nothing left. But sometimes, just like in any kind of war, it breaks. You all of a sudden turns, and you all of a sudden bring in the tanks and reinforcements, and you've got a whole other troop coming to back you up. And that was my friend who nominated me in the summer. I made it from March to the summer in July, and my friend nominated me for an award for the Canadian Women of Inspiration Awards. And that literally saved my business, because I was able to promote that and gain some traction of that visibility and this nomination. If it wasn't for that friend to nominate me, I don't think I would have been able to keep birthing my business. It would have been miscarried. She saved me. And so with that, it was this renewed sense of like, my business is still viable. I created a signature series, Birth Your Book, Birth Your Voice, Birth Your Brand. And I was able to pivot. Like many other businesses had to do, pivot online, pivot something, go back to your roots, go back to something else that you know, and survive. Someone was in the foxhole with me that day. They stood with me in the muck and the firing and being under attack. And she said, "You're worthy, you're amazing, and I nominate you." And so that carried me through to fight for my business again, to fight and stay in there and advance the army. That was such a gift. But meanwhile, I'm still battling my health. It's still bad. For some reason, I don't know, I can't get a handle on the allergies and the sinuses and the homeschooling and stress. Stress plays a huge factor on autoimmune diseases, right? So all of these things are happening. Meanwhile, I'm posting about the award nomination. I'm getting stories written about me, and people think, "Blaise, wow, you've got massive success." Yes, but you're not seeing the other side of the coin. I'm fighting for my life even more than I have in years, just trying to get through the day. It feels like by 9:30 a.m., I'm in the constant minus column of energy, of the will to get on. Like, how am I going to do this day in, day out? And you just don't see the end in sight with COVID. You don't know when this isolation will lift. Here we are, starting 2021, and we're still in it. And it's hard. It's mental warfare. This isn't even just physical. It's mind games. It's mental. And if you haven't built up those mental muscles, you will lose. You've got to gain some mental strength to battle that mind that plays tricks on you. So we've got to work continuously on mental, physical, and emotional strength to battle this warfare. Which takes me to the point of affirmations. They don't do shit. They don't. And I'll clarify here, because they don't do anything for you when you're in the warfare, but they are vital in the training process. They are vital for maintenance. They are good. I have affirmations and I have vision boards, and they are good, but it's, like I said, training camp, maintenance. It's not for combat. So let me put it into perspective. You know, every day I say things like, I am healed, I am healthy, I can breathe, I forgive, I am lovable, I am worthy, I am validated, I am a conqueror. Those are affirmations. But when you're faced with your business ending and closing up, when you're faced with mental health issues, when you're faced with physical health or just issues and conflict, you don't just say to the problem, "Oh, I am healthy. I am abundant. Wealth finds me. I'm a magnet to money." No, you don't say that. Yes, you can say it, but that's not actually what tackles the problem. That doesn't actually stop you from getting laid off from your job due to COVID, right? You have to have these tools in your toolbox, how to pivot, how to draw on the problem and turn it around. It's not just saying an affirmation to it. That doesn't do anything. You got to take action to the affirmation. So that's what I mean about affirmations. They are good, but they don't do squat when it comes to actual warfare. You need to have other tools in your toolbox that takes action on them. And just like the oyster and the pearl, the oyster has a parasite that comes in and it doesn't say, nope, I don't want any trouble, and it clams up. No, it draws it in. It's like, come on, sucker. I know what to do with you. And it coats it with a liquid. And it coats it so much with its liquid that eventually that little parasite that came in, that problem, became the oyster's pearl. So this is what we have to do. We can't get away from problems. Maybe we've never experienced something like COVID and the COVID war, but we all have problems. No one's immune to them. We constantly go through different setbacks and hardships and challenges. But we can't look at it like, no, I don't want to deal with COVID. Oh, I'm just going to affirmation my way out of it. It ain't going to happen, guys. You got to figure out how to draw it in, coat it with your special unique liquid, and turn it around into your pearl. So that's what I did. Because of one person nominating me, I was able to turn the parasite of COVID and this whole war I was going through, at least on one angle with my business, and promote the heck out of it, get more recognition, get people talking about what I'm doing, get that chatter. And then I ended up winning. I won the Influencer Award for the Canadian Women of Inspiration Awards amongst the COVID war. It was winning a battle amongst the war. That was huge. That was so huge for me. But it was all because I didn't just affirmation my way out of it. I took action. Someone nominated me, yes, but I actually had to fill out the nomination package. That was 5,000 words. I had to tell my deepest, darkest fears. I had to tell my story. I had to pour it all out in this nomination package, and I left nothing else. I left nothing untouched. I left it all out there on the field, just like we're supposed to do. There was nothing I held back because there was nothing left to lose. I put it all out there, my whole heart, and I ended up winning. Because someone happened to be in the foxhole with me telling me, you are an influencer. You are a woman of inspiration. Don't let this COVID war get you. So I won an amazing battle. But yes, I won. But meanwhile, I've got other battles going on behind the scenes, guys. I often, message people that maybe I haven't talked to in a while. And I say, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. What's new? And you know what I actually get? I get a response like, oh, wow, I'm okay. In all honesty, I thought you forgot about me. I thought you got too big for me. I'm like, what? Yes, I've won an award. And yes, I'm doing great things on one side of my life. But I'm not this massive millionaire that has no time for my lower friends. I don't think like that. Gosh, I hope no one thinks that of me because that's far from the truth. Reality is, I've been fighting for my life for the last year and I got nothing left. No one checks on me. And it's not that I've become too big for you. It's like I'm literally fighting for every breath in my life at this moment. I'm trying to keep it all together and I know that person's trying to keep it together too. But this is what I'm saying. You're not seeing the other side of the coin. You're not seeing all these other little wars that are happening. Social media only gives you one side, guys. Don't look at someone's post and be like, they have such a great life. Yeah, they might do on that one thing, but then also realize they're battling other things going on that you don't see. Now, maybe ask them about what you're not seeing. Ask them about, how raising kids are, how your business is, how's your mental health, how are you happy? Are you at peace? How's your relationship? Are you doing? How's your physical health? How can I help you? How can I be of support to you? How can I be in the foxhole with you? Right? Like, we've got to get over this mentality of whatever we see on social media makes someone like an amazing success. It doesn't. It may be a success in that one arm, but maybe they're battling other things going on, just like me. It's a war zone. And there's injuries, there's losses. Sometimes you lose a limb and you're out for 3 months. You need to check on people because they can come back and fight in the line with you, but you need to be there to help them, encourage them. They need doctors. They need someone to give you morphine, not actual morphine, but like someone to be a medic and come help this person and drag them along like Band of Brothers. They risked their lives to drag some of their units across those lines to stay out of harm's way and not get shot some more. You got to help them. And I'm determined to help others too. And if I haven't checked up on you, text me and I'm going to go and help you because I've been helped. I support because I am supported. I haven't become too big for anyone. I'm battling just like you. I have wins in other parts of my life. Yes, but we're all going through this war. And the only way to get through hell is to keep moving forward. That's the only way we get through this. We are in still COVID. Can you imagine all of 2020? And here we are, 2021, still battling COVID. World War III. What are you going to do? Are you going to stop and stay in hell? Or are we going to keep moving forward? Hop in someone's foxhole and say, we got this. Keep going. Fire your gun. We got this. We got a new battle plan. Let's do this. Band of sisters, band of brothers. A collective pushing forward, battling this COVID pandemic. We got this, guys. But it only happens if we have the will, the grit, and the determination to conquer it. That resolute spirit. Whatever you're going through, whether it's health issues, marriage issues, children, your business. My husband was laid off in that new city this fall. He was laid off. We thought, we got this job. It took us to this new, bigger city. We were settling in and bam, when you least expected it, a bomb comes in, blows up your entire line. I cried for 3 days straight. I couldn't even keep it in. I was an emotional mess. How could this happen? I'm doing all the right things. I'm saying all the affirmations, right? Because they don't do crap when you're faced with a loss. People have been laid off. People have experienced true epic losses this past year in this war. What are you going to do? Well, then you just have that resolute spirit. No matter what, we aren't going to quit. Days later, after I stopped the tears, my husband was offered a job in BC. So here we are. We moved again twice in the pandemic. We moved to a new province and we giggle because we never thought we would live in BC. It was never a plan, but here we are. And so we've had to draw in, just like the oyster, draw it in and make it our pearl. And now here we are with our daughter. She's in a third new school in 1 year. She's so amazing. She's adaptable. We're teaching her how to draw in on the problem, pivot it, and turn it into our pearl. We all have problems. But we all have the ability to create a string of pearls amongst them. That's how we get the pearl. I launched Blaise the Trail podcast in 2020 because I was determined to unleash my voice. What you didn't see were those people trying to silence me with harsh attacks. I was incredibly blessed to travel Europe all in a time right before the world shut down. What you didn't see is the constant struggle to breathe amongst every step I took along the cobblestone. I published my book, Heroine, and launched a business because of it. What you don't know is that most of my family won't even acknowledge I wrote it. It's too risque for our conservative family. I won a Woman of Influence Award for founding Footprints Infertility and Pregnancy Loss Support Initiative. What people don't realize was that it was built upon the trauma of 3 dead babies. You see Blaise and all my posts of adventures and opportunities. What you don't see is the ashes we left behind. But throughout this war, we continue to fight. We continue to rebuild. And I have the heart of a champion. So I'm challenging everybody, even amongst the war, we can birth amazing things. Don't get discouraged today. Don't see someone's post on Facebook and see all the highlight reels and think that you got nothing left to birth. Baloney. You're seeing their successes because they're drawing on their problems, their parasites. All the effects of the war, they're drawing on them. Now you make that inner decision within and say, I'm going to conquer today. I'm going to draw that problem in, whatever I'm facing, whatever's going on, and I'm going to birth my pearl. I'm going to pivot, and I'm not going to quit. Have that resolute spirit. And the difference between sinking deeper in the war and actually winning a battle and winning the war is that you've got to harness whatever you're going through. People often want to hear things. Oh, you're so amazing. You've got potential. You've got destiny. Here's your purpose. And you sign up for conferences and you want people to pick you out of a crowd and say, you are amazing. And you're like, yeah, I got picked out of the crowd. You know what? Everybody wants to hear it. And those even that hear it sometimes don't even fulfill what they're supposed to do because it doesn't stop at the hearing. It doesn't stop at me just telling you right now that you've got purpose and destiny and you can do it. You've got to harness what you hear today. Harness what I'm telling you. Harness what all the problems that are going on in this COVID war. And just like the band of brothers, they banded together and so many of that easy company survived because they did it together, stronger together. They harnessed what they learned in training camp. Yes, the affirmations are good. They learned that in training camp, but they harnessed it with different tools. You don't have someone coming at you with a grenade and a bazooka and you say, oh, I am protected. No. You need your own set of bazookas and grenades and weapons to fire back. So pick that up. Pick up all of those things that you have learned, all the things that you have heard, and harness your destiny today. It is time we battle back and win the war against COVID, against mental health, or against any issue that you are going through today and make it your pearl. I am still battling my health. As I sit here today, I, for some reason, have sores all over my head. So you're seeing this fiery Blaise tell you motivating things to get through COVID war, and I'm sitting here with sores all over my head because of autoimmune and reactions, and I'm trying to come down back on prednisone, and I had to go up to 50 milligrams this year, and I felt like a failure and felt like I was going back, but I did not quit. Do not quit today. Do not judge someone based on their successes or their losses. You do not know the whole story. But go forward, collect their hand and say, let's do it together. That's the only way we're going to survive this, is together. I've got health issues, but I do not let that define me. So if you're thinking, oh, I have this come against me and this setback and you don't know what I'm going through, I don't care. Because I'm going through it too in my own way, and I'm still birthing things. I'm still creating pearls, even amongst the sores on my head today. Even amongst the setbacks of taking more prednisone and not knowing how I'm going to pay for my new drugs because I moved from a province that paid for it and BC may not pay for it. It's $80,000 a year. Those are stressors, but I will not let them define me. I will not let them stop my purpose. I will not let them make me lose my war. I'm going to harness all of that and move forward and advance the army. Let's go, people. We can do this today. 2021 is the year that we harness all the problems and the things coming at us and the attacks of the enemy. And we are going to harness all of those things and turn it around and make it our pearl for our life. And we do it together. That's what I wanted to share with you today. The COVID war is not about depressing things and setbacks that we faced. It's about how we can turn it around and liberate our lives. And show how everyone in our sphere can be inspired, but how we turn it around. Show my daughter how you face problems and you turn it around, that you don't fall back. You continue to press forward, press on, and advance your army to victory. You do not quit. You either win or you learn. You win a battle and you move forward, or you lose one battle and you learn from it and come back stronger, fiercer. And you defeat the enemy. Let's go, people. Pick up your dreams. Pick up all those miscarried dreams. Pick up your disappointments and run your race today. We have things to birth. We have purpose. And we have the capability to win this COVID war. Do not quit. Have that resolute spirit within, where you're resolute and you're relentless and you have the resiliency to continue forward. I love you all. If you want to learn more about my consulting programs, purchase my book, or have me speak at your next event, please visit blaisehunter.com. I do have a free offer for everyone. When we are lost, when we are driving, what do? We Google Maps that stuff, right? We go to the map. So I've created a mini map video that shows us how to navigate through overwhelm and anxiety throughout the day and get us back to a place of peace and balance. Head to my website, free offer tab. You can download the mini map. video. That's it for this week's episode. Challenge yourself to be vulnerable, lean into the difficulties, and have those open conversations so we can rise up as the heroes of our lives and let us breathe fire together. If you've enjoyed this show, please subscribe and support Blaise the Trail podcast. Reviews are always welcome and very much appreciated. Thanks for listening. I'm Blaise Hunter.
You've been listening to Blaise the Trail with Blaise Hunter. To learn more about how you can breathe fire and unleash the hero within, or to listen to past episodes, visit blaisehunter.com.